but I'm never like just watching your stream.
Yeah, I'm never watching my stream either.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, we're live though, so
I know.
we are now live, and all right, let me get my chat going. See if my chat's coming up. Oh, looks like we have Blue Rose Lions on. So she's one of my playtesters for
Nice.
No Quarter.
Nice.
And she's just joined my Shadow Dark game too.
We should get something put together for the starting soon for No Quarter.
Oh yeah, yeah. That wouldn't be too
At some point.
Yeah, because we're gonna do these pretty frequently, I think.
That's the hypothesis.
Yeah. Copper, what's up, man? Rocket Crotch, what up, Rocket Crotch? How you doing, buddy? It is. It's a DM Layer live stream. Welcome. All right, I'm going to tell folks what we're doing, and then we will begin. All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another fine DM Layer live stream. So I'm going to be, you can't see him yet, but I'm going to be joined by by Zac. Zac, what is your official title with the company? What is it?
I have no idea. I need to look at our contract.
I think it's like director of new project development, or I don't know what the heck it is.
I mean,
we just like, we're gonna give you a fancy title. Go, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know. I just do whatever.
You can't see him yet. You will in a moment. But Zac is he's also the lead game developer for No Quarter too, I would say. So a lot of what you're going to see today is going to be heavily influenced by Zac's big brain and game design. What would you say? Like skills or whatever? Yeah.
Ideas.
I don't know. Yeah.
Philosophy. I like Matthew Tanner's suggestion for my job title.
Here, let me.
The fancy game guy.
The fancy game guy. All right, there we go. Now they can see you. I was like, I should probably put him on. I should probably put him on.
Wow, I am washed out.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah, you got bright lights.
There.
Bright lights. Yeah.
That should be a little bit tamer.
All right, now you just got some nice. So basically what we're doing today, folks, is we are doing something totally different. We've never done this before. So we have been designing a new TTRPG since, what would you say, August, Zac? Something like that?
Somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there. And it's called No Quarter. And we're going to be launching it to our patrons on the DM Layer Patreon in January. So we've been developing the rules. We've been iterating on the rules. I've been running a playtest with folks. Zac and I have been playtesting as well. And basically, today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be showing you a little bit about the game system. We'll show you. We're not going to go over all the rules because that would just be right? But we're going to give you a taste of it, right? We'll show you some character sheets, more or less the basic idea of how you build a character, and then we're going to be literally running a playtest. He and I are going to playtest an adventure that he wrote, and this is going to be, I think, our third or fourth playtest of this adventure, because what we're doing is we are dialing in some of the combat balance, the game balance, specifically for the monsters, right? And so you're going to see that today. As we do this little playtest, you're going to see how the game kind of works. You're going to see how combat works. You're going to see how quickly combat goes. We're going to be showcasing we're calling it our Cornered Rats initiative system. Cornered Rats. I think you're going to enjoy it. It's a new concept that we came up with just on the fly one day. One of us was like, what if? And then we just played it out, and we really like it. So I've never heard of it before, so I think it's new. But No Quarter at its core, so like almost any fantasy-based TTRPG out there, the ones that I'm familiar with, are class-based. That means that you pick a cleric, you are a fighter, you are a wizard, etc. You pick your class, and then your class defines what you're able to do in the game. This is not No Quarter. No Quarter is not a class-based game system. No Quarter is a skill-based system. If you have played Call of Cthulhu, you know what that means. Your character picks skills, and those skills determine what you're able to do and how well you can do them. And so the same thing is in No Quarter. You pick skills. You start with a base character, and then you pick skills, and your skills determine what you can do. So if I pick to be melee combat plus some magical healing, that's what I can do. And I can mix and match skills. There are some like prerequisites and gating mechanics involved, so you can't do everything. There are some like requirements and stuff, but the basic idea is that character creation, you can kind of do what you want. You can make the character that you want to create, within guidelines, of course. But you're not like confined to like, you picked fighter, therefore this is what you can do, and that's it. You want to cast spells? Tough luck, baby. So that is like the premise of No Quarter, is that it's skill based. The second thing about No Quarter, it is a grittier system. You're not a superhero. This is not D&D 5th edition where like you can't die and nothing is challenging. It is very much more like old school or the Renaissance. What do they call that thing?
OSR.
OSR. Thank you. The old school Renaissance. Yep. OSR. It's very much more like that. It is also it is not a D20 based system at all. It is a D100 roll under system, and you're going to see what that means today if you don't already know already. But essentially, that's what Call of Cthulhu does. I really like Call of Cthulhu, the mechanics of Call of Cthulhu, and so we have borrowed a little bit from that game system. And I think that's most of the highlights of what defines a No Quarter. What else do you think we should tell them, Zach, before we start doing stuff?
I think it'll be easier to just show.
Yeah.
But Copper, grit as in not high fantasy and characters have a slight chance to die. More like death is not just possible, but almost inevitable.
At least in our playtesting, it's been pretty brutal.
Yeah. like there are multiple degrees of success to hits, and characters can die in one hit to some just bad luck.
Yes. I remember one of our playtests, it was at least one of them, we were going against a little bit higher rank creature, and it rolled a natural 100 essentially, and it rolled a 1. It rolled a natural 1, which when you're dealing with a D100 roll under system, a 1 is the very best roll possible. It's like a nat 20. So it rolled a 1, which means it did 6 times as much of its base damage?
5 times.
5 times. So it did 5 times base damage, just like obliterated the character. Like one hit, just done, because it rolled a 1, baby. So, but we've had lots of character deaths in our playtesting. So, all right. What I want to do now is, and what we're going to do too, is we're going to show you the game in action. We'll explain a little bit. And then we're also going to be, we're going to be running a game design meeting too. So you're going to see some of our conversations, some of the thought processes behind the things that we're tweaking and changing. And then toward the end, we're going to open it up for Q&A as well. And then we'll just take questions and stuff like that. You guys are welcome to drop questions in the chat now. We may or may not actually see them because we're going to be busy doing the playtests and stuff. So holding your questions.
Is Tashu around to grab questions?
I have no idea. You can ping him on Discord and see if he is. If he is, that would be wonderful. But I changed the day, so he may be totally caught off guard that we're even streaming today. So. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you some of the character sheets that we have, so you guys can kind of get an idea of what a character sheet looks like. Let me Discord. There we go. There we go. All right, so you can see a character sheet on the screen here. Let me zoom in just a little bit. Now, this obviously is like our jankety, like, not ready to like publish and do, but it just shows you how basic the character sheet is. This is not a super complex character sheet. This is not intended to be a rules heavy game. It's somewhere between rules light and rules medium. Is what we're trying to aim for. We want to give people enough rules that it answers their questions, but not so many that it slows down gameplay. And that's the balance we're trying to strike. But this is an idea of the character sheet. you basically you have some attribute scores, and then you have combat skills and utility skills. Racial skills will increase certain things and stuff. The thing that I want to really hone in on the character sheet, because this is going to be important as we begin the playtesting so that you understand what in the world we're doing, is if you look at this, if you look at the basic magic attack rank 2, and if you look at this right here, the 75/0/0, this is what we call the expression, okay? It's a 75. If I roll under a 75 on my D100, I have a success. Now, right now, the first 0 would represent my great success. My second 0 would show my extreme success. Those are the right terms, right? Great and extreme? Yep. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Now, in this case, this character is a very low-level character. I say level, but characters don't really have levels in this game. And they are not able to get a great success, nor an extreme success, which is why these are 0s. They literally cannot get them, all right? So they can only get a regular success by rolling a 75 or under. So that's what these expressions mean right here. So this character right here, Marielle, she is mostly a magic user and a healer, it looks like. So she has a basic magic attack that does 1 damage, and she can do some healing. And she's got some religion and herbalism skills as well. So these skills that she chose defines her as a character. And then I'm gonna just go through and show some of these other characters so they can see them. This is Garen. Now, when we do the playtest, I'm gonna be playing all 4 characters, and Zac is gonna be running all of the creatures.
Yep.
It's just going to make it way easier to delineate what we're doing. Garen here is basically like some sort of warrior fighter type. He has a basic melee attack that does 3 damage, which is very good. Oh, by the way, this is probably an important point too. You do not roll for damage in our game system. Rolling for damage is literally just a mechanic that slows down the game. And since damages average out over time, and in most game systems like D&D 5e, damage averages out, and hit points just scale and stuff like that, it's a meaningless roll that literally just takes up time. So we don't roll for damage in no quarter. It makes the game go a whole lot faster and literally changes nothing. This guy right here does 3 damage, and he has a thing called counterattack. Physical defense will decrease the damage he takes in the game. Now, what's interesting too is that if Garen, for instance, were to attack we do not have the concept of armor class in No Quarter. No armor class, nothing like this. Garen to attack is literally going to roll a D100. If he gets a 75 or under, he hits. There is no armor class or defense number to check against. It's literally just roll under the expression that you have and you hit. Now, the thing is that some creatures have damage reduction, physical reduction or magic reduction, okay? So being able to do more damage will obviously help overcome that. And then in this case, Garen has physical defense, which means that he takes -1 damage from physical attacks. All right, this is the equivalent of having armor on, we shall say. And then let's go to the next one. Anything?
That's actually a point to bring up, is there are no mundane items in No Quarter. So you're not stuck choosing a rapier because that's the one that does the damage you need to do. Mundane items are just describe your character based on your skills and just go with it. Like, if you want that -1 to represent you're a barbarian with tough skin, great. Or if you're a fighter with chainmail, also equally great.
Yeah, as we were discussing the game and deciding how to do it, one of the things, this is an example I always bring up, is that it annoys me to no end how in games like D&D, Pathfinder 2, etc., the spear, which is a ubiquitous weapon found throughout all of antiquity, even nowadays, soldiers have bayonets to fix to their rifles, okay? It is a ubiquitous item, okay, a weapon, because it takes very little steel to manufacture. Probably apprentices can mold it and then sharpen it and affix it to a haft. It's super easy to manufacture, and it's very, very efficient, and it's a great weapon. It's a wonderful weapon. There's a reason it has survived throughout the ages. And yet in games like D&D, the spear only does 1d6 damage, which means that nobody picks it. How many times in your D&D games have you seen somebody wielding a spear? Never, because it doesn't do enough damage. And everybody picks a long sword or a great sword or something like that, right? That does 1d8 damage. And so we thought that it was silly that wonderful weapons get underutilized just because the game designer decided to give it less damage for some undisclosed reason. And so in No Quarter, one of the base things about your character is that you get to decide what the flavor is of your character, what kind of weapon you use, what kind of armor you wear, how your magic works, what your magic looks like. Like you'll notice here when I pulled up, let me pull up Eladrin. This is our wizardy type spellcaster. Eladrin has a basic magic attack. It does 2 damage. It doesn't say whether that's fire, whether it's force, whether that literally is causing a dragon to appear and bite at somebody. Like it doesn't give those details. The characters are free to envision what their characters look like, what their characters can do. It's in so much as the flavor goes and how that looks in the game, right? So it gives players a lot of freedom in that regard. We're not locking you into, oh, this is a magic missile spell. It literally does this, right? And so that's another defining characteristic too. So we have, this is our spellcaster type that does like basically spell damage and stuff. And then the one I was showing you before that I didn't talk a whole lot about was Raka, who he's a melee warrior, kind of like a barbarian type, basically. He's kind of built like that. So it is once you create your character, it does get very simple. It's not super complex at all. Now, that said, if you look at all the skill options, there are a lot of skill options. So designing your character and deciding what you want to make your character be, that can be a little bit of a process, right? Because there's so many options for you. But once you get it defined and created, then yeah, things get really easy. And that streamlines gameplay and makes gameplay just go quickly. Go ahead, Zach.
And by design, you cannot do everything. Like you have to accept trade-offs when you're designing your character.
Yeah.
If you want to make an all-out melee attacker, you can absolutely do that, but you're gonna trade something else off.
Yeah. And you'll notice on the rocket sheet that I'm showing right now that I have selected, or I should say Zach created this. So Zach selected intimidation and athletics. And he didn't have to do this. He could have chosen more combat skills, and Raka could have even better combat skills. The trade-off would be is that when there is a door to be broken down or a chest or something to be pried open, which happens a lot in the game, we might not have any characters who can actually do that. They might not be good at it, because if you were untrained in a skill, there are certain basic skills that if you're untrained in them, you have no ranks in them, you can still attempt them, but your expression is 30-0-0, which means that you have a 30% chance of success. That's not very good. So if you're untrained in certain things, you can still try it, but you have a much higher probability of failing, right? So you can definitely heavy load into combat, but it's a big trade-off, right? And most of all of the characters that we have today, every single one of them has been built to have utility skills to be balanced, shall we say.
They're meant to be realistic characters, not just the optimized characters.
Exactly. Realistic. The sort of thing that most folks probably make in a game. Yeah. And they would help us the most with balancing and playtesting and stuff.
But they are still good characters. Like, we're not saying they are ineffective characters by any means. No, just good. That they're not sat down and how can we optimize this?
Yeah. Oh man. I have a giveaway. I gotta go change this. I have like a giveaway thing running. Oh. I need to change that. I'm gonna go full camera so I can change my giveaway because that giveaway should not be running. Give me a hot second. I did not turn that off. So this is live streaming. Nightbot. And then my timer, I gotta turn that timer off. Boop, timer's off. And then, there we go. Okay, now I'm good. All right, excellent. And I can go back to full screen. Whoop. All right.
Yeah, Daniel, that was exactly our thought as well, is we like not having to worry about the mundane items that all it is just an arbitrary restriction on characters. Yeah. It's not a meaningful game design choice. Now, of course, we're working on crafting magic items, and those are separate. Those aren't just whatever you want.
Yeah. basically the rule that we have for equipment is that for mundane equipment, we assume that you are a competent adventuring party and you have brought reasonable supplies with you. Rope,
Exactly.
like, you know, if you need like I don't know, pitons or something, or some candles or a torch, we assume that you have brought supplies with you. We don't have a list of things to buy, so you have to go through and spend like a half an hour plus shopping for all the mundane items. Make sure you have in your character sheet so that when the DM is like, hey, do you guys have any torches? You're all just like, we forgot to buy torches. And then you go back to town, right? So we just kind of hand wave and assume that you have a reasonable stuff, because for the most part, most games tend to hand wave that stuff anyway because it's not fun, so to speak. So we just are like, you know, and it bloats the rules. It bloats the rules a whole bunch and just slows things down. So we're just like, yeah, we'll just assume that you have that crap, you know. So that's what we do. By the way, Tashio is here. So he's going to be, we have a moderator who will be keeping track of your guys' questions. So you're welcome to ask questions during the stream, and then he'll just take a note of them. And then when we get to the Q&A, we'll make sure we go through and hit all your questions that you asked. So,
Thank you, Tasha.
Cool. Yes. Thank you, sir. All right. No, dark vision is actually a skill you have to take if you want to be able to see in the dark.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a skill.
Yeah.
Nobody has it,
we
though.
didn't discuss racial skills at all.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Give us the...
So, along the same lines as items and spells and all that, we do not have predefined races like elves or tabaxi or Goliaths or anything like that. Instead, we have a set of racial skills that you pick at character creation and build whatever sort of character race you want. So right here, Garen Steelbound has Earth Sense, which is our version of Tremor Sense, Constitution, and more combat hit points. So he's probably more like a dwarf type character, but there's no reason it has to be that way. And Dark Vision is a skill that you can choose.
Yeah. And as far as like what the races are, I have a guy in my playtest right now who is literally playing a steak. He is a steak with arms, like a beef steak, a steak you eat. And what he does is his power, he has like, I think he took magic attack, and he literally squirts steak sauce into people's eyes and faces, and he drowns them in steak sauce. This is what he does. Before that, he was a turkey called Gobble. He was a turkey. All right. And so, like, this is the type of characters he creates because he thinks it's fun. So, like, he made a steak, and now his steak is stinking, spraying people with steak sauce in the game. And we're having a fun time. We all think it's funny and cool. You know, now that might not fit. Now, I imagine there are going to be lots of game masters who are probably going to want to define what the races are for their campaign worlds, you know, and our game system will give you all the tools you need to do that. You know what I mean? Because some people, like, having a walking steak in your world might not be your cup of tea. And that's fair. You know what I mean? We're just doing a play test, so we're like, it's fun. Who cares? You know? But you have the tools you need to do that. The other thing I think we should mention too is our hit point system, because that is very, very unique. I've not heard of it before. So go ahead and explain what that is.
Yeah. So with hit points, we wanted to go with a little bit different of a system where there are no death saving throws, but we also don't have the arbitrary, a character has to take certain skills in order to get hit points back in between combat. Because that's one thing that I personally did not like about Pathfinder, is there's generally a character that has to be spec'd into healing because the system assumes you are full on health after every combat.
Yeah, Pathfinder 2.
And so,
right, yeah.
Yes. And so what we did is we have combat hit points and adventuring hit points, where combat hit points are your ability to keep fighting in the current combat, and adventuring hit points are your ability to keep going in the adventure. And so what happens is combat hit points, those automatically restore after the end of combat with like a 10-minute lag where we just needed some time on there so the game masters could throw waves at players. But when combat hit points reach 0, you start losing adventuring hit points. And as soon as adventuring hit points hit 0, your character is dead. There is no death saving throw. There is no resurrection magic. You're done, roll up a new character.
Yeah, because and the reason we decided to do it this way is well, the main thing is that if you notice games like D&D 5e or Pathfinder 2, one of the mechanics they have in place is they have mechanics in place that essentially ensure that maybe not after every combat. Well, in D&D 5th edition, you have the short rest, which allows you to get your hit points back, not after every combat, but close to it, right? And then, and depending on your game master, they might let you long rest after every combat and get all your everything back. But that's another topic. But even games like Pathfinder 2, they have things like combat healing and what's the medicine, the skill? What is that called again, Zach?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
I run a Pathfinder 2 game like every other week, and I still can't remember this stuff.
I haven't run Pathfinder in like a year and a half.
They have skills that essentially let characters that without healing spells, but it's just like a normal skill you take, will essentially be able to restore hit points to almost everybody after every single combat. And which is fine. They built the game designed around a way of mechanics and stuff to give characters their hit points back after every combat or close to it. And the problem I always had with that approach is that we have these mechanics. Now in 5th edition, the mechanics aren't too complex. It's just a short rest, though it requires an hour and some time, and a game master who doesn't have the dungeon come and interrupt your short rest. So it requires some game master leniency. And in Pathfinder 2, you literally have to take skills and train in things and get ranks in it in order to become good at it, right? And that's much more complex mechanics. But my point is that these games, they want people to get their hit points back, and they design mechanics around it. And what that does is it adds game mechanic bloat, rules complexity to the game, where if you start out with a premise that says we want people to get their hit points back after every combat, then instead of adding rules and stuff that help achieve that and bloating the game, why not just say you get your hit points back after every combat? Isn't that easier and faster and makes for a more streamlined game if that's your intention? And so that's what we did. We essentially, the combat hit points, the intention of these is that this is a buffer. You know, this is like getting bruised and beat up and stuff, you know? And then once you are able to catch your breath, you're fine again, you know? The adventuring hit points, this is where you're actually taking real wounds. The sword literally cut your arm through an artery or something, or it pierced your stomach and you were seriously wounded, right? And that's bad. So that's kind of the intention we're going for here. So as long as, if you have a brief little combat and all you lose are combat hit points, not a big deal. I'm going to patch back. I'm going to get them back really quickly. But if you get the combat's so tough that you start to go into adventure hit points, then it's nasty. Then your life is at stake, you know? So if you look at a real world example of a warrior who's taking little cuts, you know, and maybe a bruise here, that's not good in the combat itself, because every little blow or cut or something is kind of like, it is working you down, right? But once a little bit of time goes by, little cuts and bruises, you shake them off, and then you can go on again. You catch your breath, you know, type of thing. But it's the actual, I got stabbed in the stomach, that's going to stop you in a real combat, you know. So that's kind of like what we're going for here. Yeah, it is similar to stamina. I would agree. That's a good comparison, a way to think about it. Yeah.
All right. Shall we actually do some playtesting?
I think we should. I think it's time. We've explained enough. All right. I have brought up. Whoops. Oh, come on, buddy. Come on. All right. So now I am showing them our little playtest. Our little playtest game we got here. All right. So I'm playing these 4 characters here: Eladrin, Garen, Raka, and Mariel. And then Zach's playing all the monsters.
Yeah. And just for clarification, we are not playing this fully as though it is a real game. We are approaching it with a playtesting mindset specifically.
Absolutely. So I'm going to show you a little bit of the mechanics involved in like exploration and like, you know, social interactions. But you're going to see a lot of combat too. This is good. No quarter probably can be used as a lot of groups tend to do mostly social interactions and explorations and minimize combat. You could do that in no quarter, but we both like combats, right? Yeah. And so there's definitely a design focus on like games that involve combat.
This is much more war game like than it is Critical Role like.
Yeah. Yes. Agreed. All right. So Garen is he's going to go up to this door and he's going to see if it is unlocked or not.
I need to pull the adventure back up because I don't remember. It is not locked.
Okay, not locked. So I'm going to have Roka pile up right here. I'm going to have Eladrin and Mariel kind of spread into the back lines a little bit. And then Garen is going to attempt to quietly open the door.
Okay, are you trained in stealth?
Oh, no.
All right.
No way.
Go for it.
None of my characters are trained in stealth. All right,
okay.
So I'm gonna roll a D100, and I got to get a 30 or under in order to succeed at this. I got a 13.
Okay. So Raka just quietly pushes that door open. Nobody heard a thing.
All right, cool.
Now, that is a very unlikely result because he had to roll under a 30 for an untrained skill.
Okay. So we're just going to begin to proceed in here, and I'll have these guys hang back just a tidgeon. Now we're trying to be quiet. I want all four of us to be quiet as we're progressing in here.
Okay.
Would you like me to do some sort of roll or something for that?
Yeah. Let's just have all four of them do an untrained attempt. This would be... You almost did it.
I almost did it. Three out of the four succeeded, dude.
I mean, for a real game, I would say that succeeds. 3 out of 4 is plenty.
Yeah, it's like a group check, basically.
Yeah.
If at least half of the group succeeds, they all succeed. Sure. Okay, cool. Then at this point, I see there's a door right here. Okay, so I'm going to have Garen is going to come over here, and Raka's going to stand right there. And I want to check to see if that door's locked or not.
It is not locked.
Not locked. Okay. Now, Raka is getting frustrated at this, and so Raka is going to just stride up to the door and yank it open.
Okay, it goes inward.
It goes inward, then he's gonna unlock it and then push it with his shoulder so it swings open.
Okay, does Raka have athletics?
Raka? Yes, he does. I have a 70.
All right, go ahead and make an athletics.
I succeeded. 58.
You succeeded?
58.
All right, so you kick the door open, knock the guard. I renamed them to guard sergeant in the
Oh, okay.
update, but the guard captain, you kick them away, and the door flies open, and you have a pissed off guard captain looking at you with her hand on her blade.
So Raka's got a big axe, and he's just gonna yell and growl, spit flying out. Surrender or die!
And you know what? She just draws her sword and without a word just points it straight at Raka and orders the guards to attack.
Oh man, I was gonna roll my intimidation check. It didn't work. Okay.
Go ahead. I'm not sure what exactly
I
you're
succeeded.
trying to accomplish.
I succeeded. You get to decide what I accomplished or not.
Okay.
I would 100% agree that it is unlikely for guards to just surrender, if somebody told them to.
But, but I'll say that even though the guards are moving to attack first, since you succeeded on that, the player characters will go first.
Okay, excellent. Then in that case, Raka is going to rush in and attack the guard captain.
Okay.
All right, and I'm going to swing my big axe. And I have a 75 or under to hit. A 16. Beautiful. That's 3 damage.
Okay. She only takes 2. And the guards are going to surround Raka all at once because of their special ability. And the first guard is going to attack Raka. But because of the new... I gave a new ability to the captain. So... doesn't matter. That sucks. Tashio, can you grab that question from Zerk Knight, please?
Yeah.
That's a great question.
How do you decide attack order? I think after this combat, we'll explain it. Let them look at it first, and then we'll explain what was happening.
Yep.
All right. So, somebody attacking me?
Yeah, this guard up here attacked you and missed.
Oh, he did. Okay, cool. At that point, Garen... I can't get in there. Oh, my gosh. I tell Raka, get out of the way, you idiot! And then Garrett, well, I can attack around the corner at this guard, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I really want to hit the guard captain. I just can't get in there. Jeez. And I do not have a ranged attack available at all. I'm on pure melee attack. So I'm going to try to hit. Raka's gone. So now I'm up to Garen. I'm going to try to just. So Garen has a sword and shield. So he's going to swing his sword at the guard captain on the right. I got a 35. That's a success for 3 damage.
For 3, and do these guys have damage reduction? Yes.
All
right, so it is the guard captain's turn, and she is going to attempt to run Raka through. And she is going to miss.
Yes. What was the?
It's quite badly.
What was the success rate? The expression.
She has a 60-30-0.
Okay, 60-30-0. So you could get a great success on me. Oof.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna have. Nobody's been damaged yet. I'm gonna have Eladrin, my spellcaster type, come forward to right there, and then he is going to gather flames around his fingers, and a blast of flame is going to shoot out at this guard captain right here. And I do have 15-foot range on my magic attack, and I have a 75 or better. I hit for
how much?
2 damage.
All right, so he's got 1 remaining.
Now, hold on a second. This says I have increased magic damage rank 2. Doesn't that take my damage up to 3?
Yes.
Yeah, this has got a typo on it then. So that'll be 3 damage total.
Okay, so you take that guard down.
Yeah, he goes down. Right. Sweet.
So now the next guard is going to attack Raka. And also gonna miss.
Yes. What a punk. At this point, Marielle, who's my last character to go, is going. What can she do? She does have a basic magic attack, but she does not have range on it. Oh dear. Oh dear. 5, 10, 15. She's gonna step right here, and then she's going to blue divine energy infuses her hands, and she's gonna reach out and try to touch the guard captain.
Do we address shared spaces in the rules at all?
Nope, we have nothing in there. I would just put a note in there. What I think should happen is I've always disliked the idea of difficult terrain for 5e and Pathfinder when you're not Pathfinder doesn't do it, but for 5e moving through people's difficult terrain, ultimately what that does in gameplay is it makes it so the game master always has to have corridors that are wide enough to accommodate combat, right? I've always felt that that rule always just made it a big pain in the butt for game masters and for players and stuff. So I don't want there to.
I would rather just go with something simple like -10 success if you're sharing a space.
If you're sharing a space, sure.
Yeah.
I don't want movement to be impeded by going through allies, though.
No.
Is what I'm saying. Yeah. Okay, so a -10 success. Can we just put like a note somewhere in the rules?
Yeah.
Like a comment to make that change.
Yeah,
right. I think a -10 is reasonable because you are squeezed in a space together, you know.
Yeah, let me pull up your latest.
I think it's the
one with your comments.
V10, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Having the success rate would be brutal, so I wouldn't want to do that. A -10 is reasonable.
Yeah, no.
And
-10 is plenty.
Yeah, and it's easy math too.
Yep.
Okay, so then I am going to now do my magic attack with my blue hands on the guard captain or sergeant. And so I have a 65 I got to get after adjusting it for a -10. And I hit it. So that is 1 damage. Magic damage.
Oh. One damage. Okay.
Yeah. Now the guard captain has like 1 physical resistance, right?
Correct. She has no magical resistance.
Excellent. And so then I moved 5. I think I moved 5, 10, 15. And then I'm going to retreat back to right there. And that's Mariel's turn.
Okay. All right. The next guard is going to attack Raka, and he will succeed. So he deals 2.
2 damage. This is physical.
Yep.
Raka has damage reduction 1. Yeah. So just 1 damage off Raka. All right. Nice. My guys are basically untouched thus far. Oh, this is good.
Yep.
Before, when we've done this, it was brutal. Man.
But this is where the cornered rats is going to start coming in, because since 1 guard is down, the players
Yeah.
and the guards no longer have a synced combat order.
That's right. So I'm going to go back to Raka first. And I'm going to have Raka move down to here so that Garen can actually get into the room. And then I'm going to attack the guard captain with my big axe. Take this. That's a hit. Three physical damage.
Okay. All right, and you know what? I'm going to have the guards move to block Garen from entering the room and sort of cordon Raka off in here. And the guard that's right in front of Garen is going to attack him, and that is barely a miss.
Nice. You got a 65?
So because of the guard captain's abilities, both of the guards have a 60.
Oh, nice. Because it's a base 50, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay, cool. So you didn't hit me. Dang it. Well, Garen has counterattack, but that only works if they actually hit me, correct?
Correct.
All right, so I'm going to do my basic melee attack with my sword as I slash at the guard right below me, Garen. That is a miss. I got an 86, so I missed.
All right. The guard captain is going to strike at Raka, and that is a miss.
Nice. How is that a miss? They got 60 base?
Yep. She only has 60.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. That's good. Because she hits like a truck.
Yeah, she does.
And then, so Garen has gone. And now I'm at... geez. I guess I'm still going to have Eladrin. Eladrin is going to shoot at the guard captain right there. We don't have any. We don't have any concept for cover or like things in the way. I don't know what we want to do for that, but maybe just make a note that it's something to consider. Whether we say we're not doing it is fine, but we should consider it at least because we are getting a lot of combatants in the way. We have a wall right here, so something to think about at least. So Eladrin it does add complexity though, so Eladrin is shooting at the guard captain. It's within my range, 15 feet. So fire blazes out toward the guard captain. That's a hit for 3 magic damage.
All right, she's defeated.
Yeah.
This combat has been rendered meaningless because of how badly I'm rolling.
Oh, you haven't hit anything almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that guard captain, so she does what, 3 damage or something?
3 damage on a hit, and she can get a great success.
Yeah, that would be... Because I know when we've run her before, she was super brutal because she was getting great successes, and then she rolled a 1 once, and so it was nasty. But yeah, we're getting lucky. This is worth probably at some point maybe just running the combat again. Maybe the dice will cooperate better, because with horrible rolls, anybody can win,
Yep.
All right, so that was Eladrin. Now it's one of your guys' turn.
Yep. One of the guard right next to Garen's gonna go again. There's another bad roll.
Jeez. All right. Mariel's turn. She's going to step into Garen's space and do a magic attack on that guard right there.
All right.
She hits. 1 damage. Magic. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Even with my negative 10, she still hits. Okay. And then she'll step back to where she was before. All right, your turn.
All right. The other guard is going to attack Garen. Also a miss.
Jeez, you can't hit me. Yeah, this is a bad test.
Yeah.
Yeah, this doesn't help us at all. At this point, I'm going to beat the turd out of you. There's no question about it. Like, Marielle can heal any damage you can do, and you're done. So
yeah, the only way that these 2 guards would pose a threat at this point is if they roll a natural 1.
Yeah, and even then, how much damage would it do?
That would do 10 damage.
Okay, so that it might get lucky, but chances are not very good.
Correct.
Yeah. Do you want to just reset this and play this again?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's run back through this because
hope the dice get better.
We need at least a little bit more close to average.
Yeah. We'll just start with the same positions and then replay it.
Yeah, we obviously, if one side is unable to hit anything, they are going to lose.
Yeah. Now let's consider this for a second. A guard is a basic creature. It's like a rank, what, 2, 3 or something?
3.
Right. A basic creature can one-shot a character if it gets a 1.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a 1 in 100 chance, so it's a 1% chance. But this would be the equivalent of, like, you stab forward and your sword literally goes through their throat and out the back.
Or
anybody will die with that type of wound.
Or like the spear bounces off the breastplate and goes straight through the chin.
Exactly. So, like, yes, Tashio's like, that's a lot of damage. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But in this type of combat with swords and stuff like that, like, you can one-shot people pretty easily with just that lucky hits in the right spot. That person's done.
Yep.
So it's very realistic if you want to talk about that. It sucks if you're the one getting one-shot, I suppose. All right. Okay, we're gonna. Do we want to, before we rerun this, should we talk about the initiative system? Because people just saw it, and I know at least one person was like, "How does this work?"
Yeah. So, in No Quarter, initiative does not work anything like D&D, or, as far as I know, any other TTRPG.
Nothing that I've heard of that does it.
So, effectively, there are 2 separate combat orders going on. There is the players and there is the monsters. And as you go through the combat, the players take a turn and then the monsters take a turn. And it does not matter if there are 2 monsters and 4 players or 2 players and 4 monsters. They always alternate. Mm-hmm. And so as one side whittles down to fewer and fewer characters remaining, they literally get more attacks.
Right. So, like, in this case, let's pretend that my guys had focused on killing all of the guards first. Let's pretend all the guards are dead, right? At that point, the guard captain will take a turn after every single one of my characters, right? So, if I am foolish enough to defeat all of the mooks first and not defeat the captain, I have literally quadrupled or tripled or whatever the guard captain's action economy, and she will get to take an action after every one of my characters, and that would be brutal because she's so much better, right?
And there is no fixed initiative order on either side,
right?
So the only rule is every single creature on that side needs to go before they can go again.
Right. So, like, I am rotating through my characters, and I'm literally putting a character sheet aside to keep track of who's already gone. Now, I have been keeping the same order because it hasn't really mattered. But if for instance Garen or Raka got hit really hard, I would probably have Mariel go next so she can go up and heal them, right? But yeah, there's a lot of flexibility. But it also makes combats really interesting because even one of the things that, to me as a game master, makes combats a little bit on the boring side, and maybe even for players, is that in the typical D&D combat or Pathfinder 2 combat, your typical game system, once you've defeated a handful of the monsters and there's only a few left, you know what's going to happen. You know the combat's over. You know that the players are going to win, or vice versa. But you have to still spend 15, 20 minutes more just playing it out, right? Unless you hand wave it and call it a day. But most tables play it out. But the results have really been determined because action economy has already swung heavily in favor of one of the sides, right? But in No Quarter, that's not the case. Even like when most of the combatants are dead, you still have one person remaining and they're getting a turn after every character. And so what that does is that there's still a chance, right, that one, if rolls start to go bad and players can't hit, or that one remaining person gets really good rolls and they have great successes, or maybe a critical 1, right? Then things could still swing in favor of the side that's losing in that moment, right? And what this does for me as a game master is, like, you guys know that most most encounters in most games, it's designed that the players will win, right? And so the game master, as the combat progresses and creatures are dying off, right, the game master is doing less and less, and they're less involved, and it's really mostly the players who are playing the game, and then the game master is just getting kicked in the teeth, right? Well, in this game, you know, I'm still taking turns after every single one of the players, right? And the monsters are so the game master is still actively engaged in the game, you know. So the cornered rats does a whole lot of things that thus far I am really enjoying.
It also makes single monster encounters actually meaningful and not just throwaway.
Without having to do like a special legendary actions type of thing. Yeah.
Because if I place a single powerful monster in front of a bunch of characters, that monster is taking a turn after every single character and is going to wipe the floor with them.
I would almost be more... These guards actually make this... You could argue, and this is something to think about, you could argue that having these guards here makes this encounter more dangerous, potentially, than if it were only the guard captain. Now, the exception is, of course, the hit point pool. So,
yes,
you know, but she's getting to take a turn after every one of my characters. That makes her really dangerous, right? So, yeah, so that is something to think about, too. I wonder what this fight would look like if there were no guards.
Do we want to try?
Let's. I think we do, but let's do this.
Okay.
Let's do the original fight first. Hopefully, the dice will have shifted, and then let's do a fight with just the captain, just to see what happens. You know, and all of these playtest encounters are with the huge caveat that like the dice never roll the same a second time. So like things will change depending on how the dice roll, obviously. So you only test so much.
Yep. All right. So Raka the player characters, I'm assuming Raka.
Yeah, well,
going first.
Raka is going to smoke the guard captain. Big axe, that's a hit for 3 physical damage.
All right. And you know what? The guard cap's gonna smoke him right back.
It's your dice. It's your dice, man.
I know.
This is a user issue. All right.
Apparently.
Garen is going to attack that guard right there to the right with his sword. And he hits for, I think he does 3 damage. Yeah, 3 physical damage.
All right. And that guard will attempt to stab Raka back.
No, that was Garen.
Oh.
Garen.
Well, he's attempting to stab Raka.
Okay. And you missed again. This is going to make this really hard to playtest if you can't roll higher. Or lower, I should say.
I'm going to plan B.
Physical dice. There we go. Physical dice. And now we can ensure that these rolls are better. All right.
Well, let's not go that far.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. So I think the guard just went. So I'm gonna have Eladrin is gonna blast this guard with fire right there. Try to take that guard out.
All right.
I missed. There we go.
All right, that's a welcome sight. All right, so the guard next to the guard captain's gonna attack Raka, and that is a 31. I actually hit.
Oh, nice.
For 2.
For 2, I have physical damage resistance, so that'll just be 1. Yeah, what up? And then Garen is gone, and Eladrin has blasted and missed. Now Mariel finally can heal someone, so Mariel is just going to come right there and then attempt to heal Raka. So I have combat healing rank 2. It's a 75 or better, or lower. I succeeded. So I heal combat healing. It's 2. I have 2. So that is
something unique about our healing. Is healing is not guaranteed.
Yes, I have to roll for it. Right. Mm-hmm. The great thing though is that there's no limit on the number of times you can heal or cast spells. Right. You just, as long as you make your check, you can cast it, and you don't lose your ability to cast spells or to heal. This is probably worth a little tangent discussion after this combat of why we chose to do that. And then I'll just retreat back.
All right. The last guard is going to attack Raka, and that is a 4.
4? That's a
4.
That's a hit.
That is a hit.
Was it 2 damage? I have 1 resistance, so -1. All right. Owie. I'm getting tag teamed. And who is that? That's all my guys. So I'm at the top of the order again. I'm gonna have Rocket go. Rocket should be smarter than this. He's like, we're getting surrounded. Guard captain, here we go. Big axe in the guard captain. That's a hit. 3 physical.
All right. So the guard captain now is going to strike back at Raka with my hopefully improved dice. And that is a 30.
Is that a greater success? Great success.
That is a great success.
How much damage is that?
That is a lot of damage. You just took 6 damage.
Oh! So that's going to... Okay.
That's going to put Raka into adventuring hit points.
Yep. So now I have lost 2 of my adventuring hit points. That shows the we didn't see that in the previous combat, but she's very dangerous. Okay.
And she is going to step out of the line of fire.
Oh, it's horse crap. People will notice there is no counterattack crap going on. One of our pillars of game design is that there are no reactions in this game because it slows down gameplay. All right, so Raka just got the living turd kicked out of him.
He did.
He's taken his turn. Marielle is going to come forward. So now I'm actually changing my order of my characters. So Marielle is going to step forward and try to heal Raka. This is going to be combat hit point healing. Now, just so folks understand, even though Raka is still up and able to fight, because his combat hit points are at 0, at the end of each of his turns, he is bleeding right now. He's bleeding out is the condition. And while he's bleeding out, his adventuring hit points will decrease by 1 at the end of every single one of his turns until he gets at least 1 combat hit point back. Okay? So we have to get him some of those back, otherwise he's very close to dying. So Marielle now is going to heal Raka if she can. Let's hope. I made it. I succeeded. So he gets back.
All right, good.
2. Now, so he has 2 combat hit points, but he's still lost 2 adventuring hit points. So another really good shot is going to take him out, probably kill him outright. So he's in a very bad spot. And then Marielle's going to retreat back to there. And then your turn.
All right. So Raka is severely injured. So what I want this guard to do is I want that guard to try to pull Raka a square forward to here.
Okay. Now
so this will be athletics.
Yeah, this brings up a really interesting point because we have not been giving any of our monsters like things like athletics or stealth or anything. And to assume that they're all just untrained would be unreasonable, you know? So I wonder how we approach that. Because you know what we should do? We should, in order to streamline it, what if we had basic categories where we say that every creature has a type, and that type tells you like a handful of skills that they're actually trained in or something?
I don't want to go type because then we're going to end up either having to have so many types that it's going to be confusing or it's going to be limiting. What I would rather do is a creature of a certain rank has a certain number of skills they are trained in.
And just have it in the stat block.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that actually, we have a game design principle where we're not supposed to have, everything should be self-contained. We shouldn't have to flip through pages to find information. So if we were to give it a type, you would then have to go to a different page to determine what that type gives that creature. So that's bad game design.
No.
We don't want to do that. Okay.
Yeah, I would rather say these creatures are rank 3, so they have 2 skills that they are trained in.
All right, so then if you can make a note wherever that we need to add that to creatures.
That's going in the monster errata one.
Okay, cool. So this is an example for folks of like active game design as situations come up and you're like, oh, we didn't think of this.
Yep.
How do we do this?
All right. So would guards be trained in athletics? I feel like the answer is yes.
I feel like it would be. If they're trained in anything, athletics is probably one of them.
So, but there's still going to be a 50.
I feel like it's like athletics and perception will be very reasonable for guards.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, but obviously a 94 regardless
No,
does not succeed.
It's not going to succeed.
So, all right, so the guard is just going to step in, sort of block off the guard captain.
Okay. Jeez, I got to get Raka out of there. What I'd like Garen can Garen do this? I want Garen to grab Raka and move him behind me.
Yeah, we had said that the basic actions like that, like you can do them, just they are an action to do.
Okay.
And then like Garen basically switches places with Raka.
Yeah. Oh, I want to pull him back to there, and then I want to have Garen. Well, Garen can actually just stay right there because they can't get by me. Yeah.
Sure.
I'm gonna have Garen stay right there. So that was his action, and he will stay put. Okay. In turn.
All right. So captain, guard. We're gonna have another guard go after Garen. And that is why I was rolling physical dice.
You gotta stop roll. I swear, your roll 20 dice are all super high, dude.
Yeah.
The RNG calculator is wanky today for you.
Europe. All right. Anyway.
All right. My turn. Yes, Eladrin. Eladrin is going to blast that guard with fire magic. That is a hit for 3 damage. Blasted
All
you.
right. So he is done.
Yeah, Roll20 has like decided to favor you today, but they don't understand that ours is a roll under system.
Yeah. Yep.
My guys are done.
All right. So are mine.
Rotation.
It is back to the top.
Well, you get to take a turn after me, though. Yeah.
Oh. Yep.
Yeah.
So the guard captain is gonna walk up, going to strike at Garen and use my physical dice. That is a 31.
Oh my gosh, is that a great success?
It is. Hang on. Let me double check. I don't think it is. No.
Okay.
No.
Ooh.
So that's only 3 damage.
All right, I have reduction 1, so it'll be 2.
Okay.
All right.
And she will step back out of the line of fire.
And this is horse crap because I have a stinking. What is it? What is it called? Counterattack. Now I can't use it.
I mean, I'm assuming she's not an idiot.
That's ridiculous. I'm going to have Marielle heal Raka so he can get back into the mix a little bit more safely. So that's a success for 2. My guys haven't gone yet, have they? Yeah, Marielle's the first one.
Yep.
So Raka's going to be up to 4 now. There. Now he can maybe safely start doing some stuff. And that's me.
All right. This guard will step up and strike at Garen. As a 14, that's 2.
I'll reduce that
And he's
by
stepping
1.
back.
Oh, yes. Now it's Garen's turn. Now I can counteract. Okay, my counterattack. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step forward. I'll use my counterattack, which gives me a plus 15% success. So that'll be a 90. A 90 or below, and I hit that guard. There we go. So that's 3 damage to that guard.
So he takes 2. And
All right.
let's see. I just had the guard captain go.
I think I'm going to fall back. Yeah.
Okay. So the guard next to the guard captain is going to go after Garen. And that is a hit for 2.
-1. All right. Now Garen's looking bad. At that point, Garen has gone. I'm gonna have Raka charge. He leaps over Garen, charges forward with his axe, and he's gonna attack this guard right here. Revenge. I miss.
All right.
I'm gonna retreat back to where I was, but not that much revenge. You're up.
All right, so I believe I am back to the top of my initiative. So the guard captain's going to come back up and absolutely going to smoke Garen. Ooh. So close. So close. That was a 9.
Oh my goodness. So it's still a
So
great...
she just dealt 6 damage to Garen.
Oh, that's going to take me down 4. So I got 1 adventuring hit point left. Oh.
And Marielle has already gone.
Yeah. Is she going to stay right there?
No, she's stepping back out. Literally just cut you across the neck. You've got 1 turn left to live.
Oh, Eladrin is going to step into the breach. Oh! And then he probably doesn't talk like that, but then fire is going to flare out at the guard captain.
Okay.
I got to take out this guard captain. This is getting stupid.
Yeah, you do.
All right, here we go. 6. All right. 3 magic damage.
So she's down to 1 hit point.
And Eladrin is going to stay right there because we can't let anybody else hit Raka or hit Gay or Garen. She's just going to stand there, spellcaster.
It does not matter. Garen's turn is next, and there is nothing he can do to survive.
Wait, why is Garen's already gone?
Oh, has he?
Yeah, he has. Yep, I'm at the top of my order now.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, my guard is going to pull out his ranged attack and take Garen down. That is a 55.
Garen has resistance 1 to physical, so your ranged attack doesn't do anything. Your ranged attack is only 1 damage, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Now I'm at the top of my order, and Marielle is going to heal Garen.
Yeah, I would think she would need to.
There you go. Success. All right, so he gets back 2 combat hit points. Not bleeding out anymore. Oh my goodness. Your turn.
Survived by the skin of his teeth? No, he survived because of the skills he chose.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that javelin the guard threw would have killed Garen, but he has physical damage reduction 1, so it did not hurt him. Yeah.
All right, the other guard is going to attack Eldrin. That is an 18. So that deals 2 to Garen.
He has no reduction anything.
Nope.
So he'll just eat that. All right. Now my turn. I feel like at this point, I'm going to have Eldrin blast the guard captain and see if I can take her out.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because she is messing you up.
There you go. 3 magic damage.
All right, that does it for her.
And I have to have him stay there. Otherwise, Garen's in trouble. So he's just... Actually, Garen can take a hit. But not 2 hits. Okay, no, I'm gonna have him get the heck out of there. I'm gonna have him move right to there. And then even if they attack Garen, he can survive 1 more person hitting him. So yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Sure.
Because Eladrin's really squishy. Eldrin. All right, you're up.
One of my guards. That's an 81.
Yeah, baby. Okay, now revenge time. I'm gonna have Garen. I'm gonna have Garen go first, and he is going to 5 feet right to there, and he's gonna whack this guard right there with his sword. That's a hit for 3 physical damage.
All right, so he is down to 1.
And then 5, 10, 15, 20, 20. No, 5, 10. I'm going to have him go over here behind Marielle right there. Okay. Heal me. Heal me. Hiding behind the healer. And that's my turn.
All right. So my other guard is going to step a little bit forward and attempt to stab Eldrin. That is a 14, so that's 2.
Oh my goodness. These physical
And
dice.
he will step out of the way.
You are rolling a D100, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
I mean, I don't know how well I can show
Oh,
it.
I trust
but...
you. I trust you. Jeez.
Yeah, no, I'm rolling a d20.
Okay, Raka now is going to charge into the room. 5, 10, 15, 20. Ah! And swing at that guard right there. I hit him. 3 physical damage. Right. Takes his head off.
That's the guard down.
And that's my entire rotation, so I'm at the top of the order now.
All right. Well, I'm at the top of my order.
I'm going to... Hold on. Raka went 20 feet. I'm going to retreat right back to there so you can't go after anybody else.
Okay. Well, my guard is going to attack Raka. And that is a 61.
Is that a hit? Miss.
Nope.
Miss. All right. Beautiful. At this point... Oh, good gravy. I'm going to have Raka go again since he's standing right there.
Okay.
I'm at the top of my order, so you can take a back-to-back turn. Swing the big axe at the guard. A 1.
That does it.
So that's going to be 5 times my base damage. That's 15 damage.
Yeah, he's done.
That is awesome. That would obliterate, like, really powerful creatures.
Yes and no.
They have damage
because
reduction.
they still get damage reduction on it.
That's true. So Raka, he just cleaves that guard right down the, just like that, and 2 takes him out. All right. So
that felt more like a reasonable combat.
Yes, that was actually a little bit challenging. You had some good rolls. I had some okay rolls. So yeah. And now let's just go ahead.
That's about a moderate difficulty encounter.
Yeah, because that guard captain is pretty powerful.
Yep.
And he had some mooks, obviously. So now what I want to do is I want to just show people what happens in the aftermath of a combat. So at this point, look how my guys are pretty beat up, right? And so in a typical game, D&D, you'd probably take a short rest at least, right? Or something. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to withdraw just a little bit to right here, set up some formations. And in our game system, after 10 minutes outside of combat, we get back all of our combat hit points. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do. I don't know if you want to make sure that there aren't any creatures that come in the meantime, or how you want to handle that. That's my intention.
I mean, the only ones are these smuggler laborers, and they're not written to want to engage in combat because they're just They're trivial.
All right, well, then all of my guys are going to get back up to their full combat hit points. And so this guy up to 5. So what that's going to look like then, for these guys, is everybody has their full combat hit points, but their adventuring hit points, Garen is really messed up, and Raka's not so good. So at this point, though, one of my characters, Mariel, can heal adventuring hit points. And I'm gonna pull up Mariel's character sheet so people can see this, because there's something I want to point out about this particular feature. If you look at Mariel's character sheet here, why did I change that? If you look at her character sheet here, this is the full healing right here, and it heals 2 of my adventuring hit points. But if I fail my check, I actually damage 1 adventuring hit point. Okay. And this is very intentional, and we designed this because of the fact that you have unlimited times you can attempt these spells, right? There's no limits to how many times you can do this. We wanted like combat hit points. You heal them, it's not a big deal. But adventuring hit points, if I could just like spam this and heal all the adventuring hit points up, what that would essentially mean is that like they're meaningless after a combat's over. And at that point, why have 2 pools? Like what's the practical purpose? There might be a little bit, but not a whole lot. And so with the repercussion of failure being that I would damage them, it's not just like spam it and be done. I have to actually roll for it and hope I don't fail. All right, so that's like the game design behind that. All right, now I'm going to actually try to heal Garen. Let me do Raka first. Try to get him patched up. So this is Raka. I succeeded, so I heal 2. So he's up to 5. Yep. So he's totally patched up. Now I'm gonna go to Garen. If I fail the first one, Garen's dead, because he's only got 1 adventuring hit point. So if I fail this, he dies. I got it. All right.
You know, we really should put another sort of limit on there. Because at this point,
Yeah.
just mathematically, she can heal everybody all the way back up. And it's almost a meaningless number. So we really should take a closer look at that.
Okay.
Simply because there's no more risk.
Yeah. Because now mathematically, even if I didn't fail
Even
it.
if you fail one, you're more than likely going to succeed often enough that he's going to be fine.
Yeah. The only real risk was if I was at one adventuring hit point.
Yeah.
Then I could have killed him. But as long as I have 2 or 3, then mathematically, I'm just going to be able to spam it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we need to revisit that.
Yeah,
Because it's not supposed to just be a throwaway as soon as you succeed once you're fine.
That's true. Okay, well, put a note on there. We're definitely have to, I don't know
Yeah.
that we're going to solve that in this particular moment.
No.
But that's
No.
definitely something to think about.
That was just a call out on what I just noticed.
Yeah, yep, I agree. Because I don't know that we've ever used the adventure hit point healing in practice, have we? I don't know that we have. Yeah.
Normally characters die before they get the chance.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's always happened. This is the first time our characters have survived this combat, I think, because our guard captain was way overtuned. It was way too powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this felt a lot closer to right. Like there was some serious threat.
Right. Yep.
Without being overtuned. Now, 2 guard captains, and you might like a character's probably going to drop.
Yeah. Yep. Or okay. The first time we played it, the dice rolls on your end were so bad that you couldn't tell anything. Now the second time you were rolling much better, probably better than average.
Yeah.
And it was pretty challenging. So an average combat would probably feel just about right. So
Yeah.
I feel like we should play out the guard captain all by herself now.
Yep.
See what happens.
Well, she's still going to be in her spot.
All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'll just start out with the same like positioning we had before.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. And then we'll pretend that I get to go first and then basically in our game system, who gets to go first during a combat is whichever side declares they're attacking first. Right?
Yeah.
And so I declared that Raka's attacking, therefore Raka attacks. So Raka's swinging the axe, and it's a hit for 3 physical.
All right. And so she is going to take her attack on Raka and roll a 62, so she misses.
Nice. Garen is going to come in here and whack at her. 78, I missed.
All right. And so she's going to attack Raka again. And that is a 22 for 6.
Oh. That's great success. Oh, that's horrible.
Yep.
At that point, Mariel's going to come rushing forward. Oh no, my big Raka. Here, have some healing. And I succeeded, so he'll get back 2 combat hit points. All right.
And so, you know what? If she rolls a great success, she takes Raka down.
Oh my gosh, you're totally right.
That is a 24.
Oh no, come on.
I wish I could go and properly show you this right now.
Okay. So Raka he's dead. He's been killed.
Yes.
Because that's all my hit points. Oh, this stupid, go away. Raka falls. Axe clatters to the ground. The guard captain just rips him open. Oh, he's done. All right. That was just 2 great successes in a row. That was brutal.
Yes.
All right. At that point, Eladrin steps over. Eladrin's going to come into the breach because we have a serious... That's really weird. I'm going to get the token out of here.
Yeah.
If our healer gets compromised, we're in trouble. So Ladrin's going to block the way, even though he's a little squishy. And then he's going to fire blast the guard captain. That's a hit for 3 magic damage.
Ooh. Well, she found her new target.
Oh, jeez.
And that is a 35. That is a regular hit.
Oh, okay. It's 3 damage though, right?
3 damage. Yep.
Oh, baby. I'm at the top of my order now. So
I'm at the top of mine too.
I'm gonna have Mariel heal Ladrin because he's almost in the death zone. He's very close.
Yeah.
So,
He is the most important character too for right now.
because he has magic damage and she doesn't have resistance to that. She made it. Yes, she made it. So she's gonna get back 2 combat hit points. Okay, there we go.
All right. Come on. Under a 30. Take him down. That is a 64. She does not.
You missed, right?
That is a miss.
Oh, right. Now, Garen. No, I'm at the top of the order. I'm gonna have Ladrin go again. See if I can kill the guard captain. Because I'll kill him if I hit. Fire blazes forth, and I hit. 3
All right.
magic damage. You're dead. Oh. That was just the unfortunate... Because if there had been guards, the guard captain couldn't have gone twice in a row, and I would have been able to have Mariel come and heal Raka. Or have him move out of the way, you know. Jeez.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
It is.
It should definitely be noted in our game system that solo encounters can be very brutal because of this mechanic. Yeah. Wow. That's
good. By design.
I like that.
If you are backed into the corner, you have no choice but to fight as somebody's coming after you. You are putting every single thing that you can into your fighting.
But I like the idea that like a solo boss encounter is not only feasible, it works really well. You know? Yeah. Oof. And you can take literally any creature and it can become a boss in a way because it just keeps taking its turn. Yeah.
I mean, and think about like all the cool action movies. It's not the heroes fighting against a horde of enemies and then there's the boss there too. Mm-hmm. It's the heroes walk in and you know what? They're fighting him.
Yeah. All right. That was good. I do want to. This is something that I've been thinking about for a little bit, and then somebody in the chat mentioned it too. But we call it combat hit points and adventure hit points, and I've never really liked that terminology because
it was always meant to be a placeholder that we just kind of ran with.
So I feel like we should change it to something like stamina and health.
Yeah.
Like stamina comes back after a fight because you catch your breath, you know?
Yep.
Health is like your physical well-being. So I mean, I don't want to use hit points necessarily because we could, but I don't know. Does it matter? Everybody knows what hit points means. But like if we use stamina and health, it differentiates the system a little bit, you know?
Yeah. And it'll be a lot easier if we introduce like mechanics or skills where you use some of your stamina to gain a benefit.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I feel like
we don't have any yet, but that's definitely something to do.
I think that if we only had one pool of like hit points and health, we would just call it hit points because everybody knows what that means. Who cares? But because we have 2 different pools, I think it helps differentiate that they're different, right?
Yes.
By saying stamina and then health. Right.
And it's also a lot easier to talk about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because one thing that I'm noticing in chat is it might be a little bit on the confusing side. And it's just you and I knowing the system since we're building it.
Yeah.
It hasn't been an issue, but
yeah. Like when I first started doing it, I was confusing combat hit points and adventure hit points too. But now I just know what it is. So I think having completely different names will and names that intuitively make sense, stamina and health. I think that just makes it stronger, in a lot of ways.
I agree.
Yeah. So let's just make a note in the rules that we're going to update those terms, and we'll have to do like a search replace.
I mean, it's really easy.
Oh
to
yeah.
do.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like we have now done this for. We've been here about an hour and a half. I think it's probably time to open up for Q&A. For us to go through like the spreadsheet to see what people have asked during the stream, and also just to ask people's questions, answer people's questions now. I am going to have, I gotta go bio, but maybe you can kick things off.
Sure.
While
let
I do
me
that.
let me find the spreadsheet.
And I'll be right back.
Have fun. Where is the spreadsheet? Oh, what is today's date? Oh, Luke left this on the same scene. Okay. Yeah, I found it. I just narrated I was just narrating what I was doing. So I've got Zarian. Do attributes affect skills? Do they inform beginning skills? Give bonuses? What's the point of attributes? So the attributes, they are the gate behind which you unlock skills. So Luke's not here to pull the character sheet up, but your attribute, the number in your attribute is the highest rank in skills that use that attribute you can take. So if you have, say, 2 in your strength, then you could take up to your basic melee attack rank 2. If you have a 1, you can only take 1. And if you have 0, you can't get trained in that at all. You have to have some proficiency in that skill in order to use it. Or in that attribute in order to use it.
Yeah, so if you take a look at the character sheet I just pulled up,
Yeah,
you can see that Garen here has a strength of 2. That means that his basic melee attack has rank, he can go up to rank 2, but I could not take rank 3 or 4 or 5 in my basic melee attack because my strength is only 2. Now, a basic melee attack can depend either on strength or on dexterity. So either of these, one or the other has to be at least 2 for me to go up to rank 2 here. Increased damage is reliant upon strength only, I think, right? So
I don't remember off the top of my head.
We'd have to reference the rules. But that one's a rank 2 because at least strength can help it to get there. Physical defense, I'm going to guess that depends upon constitution, right?
Yep.
So it's rank 1 right now, but I have the potential to get it up to rank 2 if I want to because my constitution is 2.
So there are some skills, though, that do not give something at every rank because they are so significant.
Yeah, that's true.
So physical damage reduction, that one, you don't get a -1 at every rank. It's every other rank. Simply because if a character were to have physical defense rank 2, then almost nothing in that adventure outside of a guard captain could even touch them, no matter how hard they tried. And that's just too powerful.
Yeah, so there's like a gating mechanic, a prerequisite mechanics that prevent you from becoming, that kind of keep you in the right power range for, different parts of the game. I'm just gonna pull up the Word document of rules so that we can.
I just saved it. Let me close it so you don't get a conflicted copy.
Okay. So like, which one were you talking? What was the one you were referencing? It was like.
So. We were talking about physical defense.
Physical defense. Okay. Oh, that's probably down in defense. Physical defense.
Yep.
So this is kind of like these are the skills themselves, and the way we write like the tables and expressions, there's probably going to look a little like, what does this mean at first? But once you know what everything means, it's a very concise, easy to refer to way of expressing skills. So what this tells me for physical defense is that it's constitution and strength dependent. All right. So that means my constitution and strength have to be built up if I want to be able to take more ranks in this. This is the effect. It reduces the damage I take from my physical attacks by the defense value. And then at rank 1, it gives me -1 damage from physical attacks. At rank 2, it gives no increased benefit. At rank 3, I get a -2 damage from physical attacks. No benefit at rank 4, and then a -3 incoming physical damage from at rank 5. And all skills can go up to rank 5 in the game.
Yep.
And then this is for prerequisites. It doesn't have any prerequisites. And this is the type, the skills all have different types that defines how they work in the game, or if they can be combined with other skills. I don't want to dive too deep into that, but that's the high level idea of it. Yeah. This is a passive skill, which means it's always working.
And just from a game design process perspective, the defensive side is starting lower, and if it needs to increase, we can increase it later on down the line. Yeah. We're intentionally trying to start a little bit on the characters are squishier side, and then we can bump up their defense if it's needed.
Yeah, and that just brings up the idea that everything's on the table right now. Anything and everything can be changed. We just literally changed terminology during the stream. We've made decisions about, like, is it difficult terrain to go through people's squares? If you're sharing a square, we've now decided there's a -10 success penalty, So when this comes out to our patrons in January, it is the alpha, right? Like, obviously we play tested it. We've done some of that groundwork and stuff. I've been playtesting with some other players too, but it's still just an alpha, which means that as our patrons are using it and giving us feedback on it, we're going to be making changes and improvements to it, as we get that feedback. I also want to mention too that when this comes out, starting in January, we're going to be giving you a No Quarter magazine as well, which is going to include adventures and monsters for you to use with the actual rules. So one thing that I've noticed is that sometimes game systems will release alphas or betas, and they don't actually have adventures to go along with it. And I think that's a big miss, because people probably want to play the game system, and they don't know the rules very well. They don't know how to create encounters, create adventures, because it's a brand new game system. And so we're giving you adventures that you can use if you want to play the game system, along with monsters and stuff too. So patrons will get No Quarter magazine as well. So you'll get the rules, and you'll get the magazine that has adventures and monsters in it. So basically everything you need to play the game is what you're going to get. All right, we got other questions? I don't have the spreadsheet open.
For CHP, would it make sense to rename it Stamina? Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. Check.
How do opposed rolls work? How do tiebreakers? So we don't have opposed rolls in No Quarter. Instead, and it didn't apply to any creatures in the adventures right now, simply because the characters aren't at the point where it should apply. But certain creatures at certain levels are going to require you to have a great or extreme success in order for them to be affected. So, for example, when you're facing a stronger, more difficult creature, you might need to get a great success to just do anything with intimidation, for example.
Yeah.
They're not scared of anything. You need to prove that you are scary, and a regular success doesn't do it.
Yeah, because my Raka, for instance, his intimidation is 70. So I have a 70% chance of intimidating someone, right? And so imagine if we're in the late parts of the game and there's a super powerful dragon. I have a 70% chance of intimidating the dragon. That seems silly, right? So what we do is we'll say we require a great success or an extreme success. So now my chance of intimidating the dragon drops, by a lot, potentially. And the reason, just in the general idea of opposed rolls, I'll tell you the reason that I don't want opposed rolls is because I've played games with opposed rolls, and what they do is they slow the game down. Right now we have this creature and this opposed roll, and they slow the game down. And sometimes one of the big problems with opposed rolls, in my opinion, too, is that if we'll take an example from D&D 5th edition. You might have some creatures in there that have, their strength is pretty good. They have a +4 to their strength, but they don't happen to be trained or proficient, I should say, in athletics. So now when you have the fighter who is proficient in athletics comes and adds his proficiency bonus to it, and he's got a +10, right? And then you have this whatever creature, big, strong, powerful creature, a giant maybe that only has a +4, the character has a huge advantage in that opposed roll. for the simple reason that the game designers didn't think probably to add athletics to this creature that reasonably should have athletics. You know what I mean? And so in my experience with game systems that use opposed rules, the PCs always have an extreme advantage over the monsters. This has always happened. Beyond that, it also slows the game down. The more rolls you have to make, the slower the game, you know? And so for game speed and fairness, I think, I just don't like opposed rolls.
It's also incredibly swingy. Like,
Yes.
a low roll from a dragon and a high roll from a wizard, and the wizard is suplexing the dragon out the window.
Exactly, which is silly, right? Which is just absolutely silly because the wizard got like a 19 and the dragon rolled a 1 and the wizard suddenly won the strength contest. It's like there is no way a wizard is ever going to win a strength contest against a dragon. It's not happening. But because of opposed roll mechanics, it's actually possible. And that's just absolutely ludicrous, right? So, yeah, that's another really good point. So, no opposed rolls.
Is there a bonus to their attack for flanking? We do not have flanking rules right now.
Yeah, we don't.
That's thing that if we get significant feedback from playtesters saying we want something like this or we added something like this, then we will consider it. Right now, just for the sake of simplicity and game speed, we don't have anything like it.
Yeah, my issue with flanking is because of the way our rules are written, increasing your success is going to also, once you have unlocked great success and extreme success, it makes it more likely for you to get those types of successes, right? So increasing your base success is a big deal, right?
Yeah.
And the problem with flanking, in my opinion, too, is that if you have a one-on-one boss, a solitary boss, right, like a big dragon, the players are always going to have flanking on that dragon. The dragon will never have flanking. And that means the players have all increased their chances of great successes and extreme successes. And this is more like me talking to Zach, right? By a considerable amount, right? Whereas the dragon can't. And that's a huge, I've always found too, and like when I play D&D, when I used to play with flanking, is like flanking always seems to benefit the players more than it benefits the monsters. Even though it should be, you know, even Steven, it's never like de facto been that way in my experience.
Yeah, it's something I really don't want to play around with unless the playtest feedback is quite considerable in favor of it. Full transparency, if we get tons of playtest feedback saying we want something added, well, we're not dumb enough to say, yeah, but we're not going to do that even though everybody wants it.
But Luke might say, fine, but it's an optional rule. It's not the core
of
rule.
Course.
And then we can give you an optional flanking rule, which technically in D&D 2014, it is an optional rule. It's not, you know, so.
Why unlimited spells / magic, etc.? Because we want to do something different, and it kind of sucks when you're playing a magic-based character and you cast your one spell, and now you're just going to kind of sit out for the next hour, not doing your cool stuff.
So let me tell you why I hate playing spellcasters in games like D&D 5th edition. Because the thing with the spellcaster is that you have a resource pool of spells to manage, right? So you're playing a mini game, and your mini game is managing my resource depletion. So if as a spellcaster, if I start throwing fireballs at the first combat and the combats were not that hard, then I'm wasting quote unquote my fireballs. And then when I get to a more challenging combat that is like, oh, this is hard, I'm out of spells, right? And I can't pull my weight anymore because I mismanaged my resources, right? And so a lot of times, and you've all been in groups like this where the spellcasters mismanage the resources and then they're out of spells halfway through the adventure. And there's one of two things that happens. The group presses on, right? And then those spellcasters are using cantrips or whatever, and they can't do a whole lot, right? Or the group says we're retreating from the dungeon and we're taking a long rest, so our spellcasters can get their spells back, right? And then the game master's like, well, you're all long resting. What do I do? Do I restock the dungeon? Did the enemies prepare? Did the enemies come chasing after you? Like, you know, they're not just going to sit there as is static and wait for you to do something. So it adds like there's a little bit of work, maybe consideration for the game master, and it seems a little weird, right? But the mini game of a wizard or whoever managing spells and stuff, you know, for the player's standpoint, like you're in this conundrum because if you keep all of your spells and don't cast any of them, then you're not pulling your weight early on in the adventure, and then maybe you get to use them toward the end. But if you keep all of them too much, then you get to the end of the adventure and the adventure's over and you're just like, oh, I still have half of my spells left. You know, I was too conservative, you know what I mean? And so there's always this like tension between conserving spells and casting spells. And for me personally, it has always made playing spellcasters not fun. And I just don't play spellcasters mostly because of that reason, you know? And so when I was designing No Quarter, like because I'm one of the game designers and I get to make the shots, make the calls, I was like, I hate that. I don't want that. I do not want that, you know? And so, yeah, you can just cast them infinitely. And our task then as game designers is to balance the game so that it works, right?
Yep.
But no longer will your magic user or cleric or whatever be useless because you ran out of spell slots, you know. Or even games like Shadow Dark, they get us most of the way there by allowing you to keep casting it unless you fail your check. But then when you fail your check, you can't cast it again until you rest. And so I run Shadow Dark games. In my Shadow Dark games, I've been in many cases where the cleric failed to cast the healing spell and now the party has no heals, or the wizard failed to cast a couple spells and the wizard literally can do nothing, you know? And for me personally, that's not fun for those players who then can not really play the game. And that's one of our pillars of game design too, is that mechanics that take players out of the game so they can't play are bad game mechanics, you know? And this idea of losing spell slots is quasi in that idea of like taking people out of the game. You know, and so that's like another reason. So we have a whole stack of reasons,
yeah,
that we did that.
Luke, I'm looking at the magic defense right now.
Uh-huh.
I have Constitution and Strength for the ability scores in that.
Yeah.
Can you make a note that those don't make sense for magic defense? Like,
Yeah, I got it.
yeah. I'm staring at this on screen. I'm like,
Yeah,
this doesn't make sense.
Somebody did a copy paste. Then
I 100% did a copy paste.
Yeah,
I'm not ashamed of it.
I got it. Yeah. All right. What other questions we got? Oh yeah, go ahead.
Hang on, real quick.
Yeah.
Copper. They're all cantrips. Yes, but can we scroll up to some of the special
Oh yeah.
magic things? Because while they are all cantrips, they are not all equally easy to they're not all equally easy to cast.
Nor are they of the same power, because some of these get really powerful. So like Grasp Heart is a great example. If you want to walk us through that, Zach.
Yeah. So I want to start with Channel Deep Magic.
Okay.
So with Channel Deep Magic, it increases your success level. So when you use it, if you regular succeed, it becomes a great success. And then eventually it'll become an extreme success. But it comes at a success penalty. So earlier you saw Luke using Eldrin. All he had to do was roll a 70 to succeed. Mm-hmm. But if he was using Channel Deep Magic, he would get a minus 30 on his success. So while, yes, he can roll a great success, it's much harder. And then for Grasp Heart, you have to have this Channel Deep Magic and take that penalty in order to use this extremely powerful skill.
Yeah, because Grasp Heart literally insta-kills stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like an auto kill. And if you succeed, they're dead.
And one of the unique ways that our skills work is instead of you just pick a skill and use it, you're more or less building skills, or you're more or less building your attack. So you have your basic magic attack, which you have to have in order to use Grasp Heart.
Right.
But you can also start taking a multi-target attack where you're targeting more than one creature. And so you might be able to cast it against 3 or 4 creatures at once eventually. but
Yeah.
you're taking that huge penalty when you do it.
Right. Yeah. And so Copper says a negative 30 helps. Correct. It lowers the success rate, but the result is way better when you actually get it. Yeah. It's kind of like if you're gambling and you gamble on numbers that don't come up a lot, you're not going to win as much, but or you're not going to, the number's not going to come up as much, but when it does come up because the, the odds are much better, you're going to win more when you do hit that number,
Does that make the skill minus 30 so the basic success goes away? Correct. So Eldrin's success is he has to roll a 70 or under. If he uses Channel Deep Magic, now he has to roll a 40 or under. But if he rolls that 40 or under, he automatically gets a great success.
Mm-hmm.
So it's high risk, high reward.
Yeah. Yeah. We do need to discuss that particular skill. I made a note here because, so a great success, how much extra damage does great success give me?
Doubles.
It doubles it. So I go from 1 to 2, right?
Correct.
Check this out. If I just take increased magic damage, I can get 2 damage per shot and other skills stack with it. This is a special skill, so nothing stacks with it. So unless, this is what my playtest players pointed this out, unless I'm literally building for Grasp Heart, it makes no sense to take Channel Deep Magic.
Why? I mean, you're allowed to use all of your supplemental skills at once.
No, I can't.
And then one special skill.
Yeah. Right. Because here's the thing.
So
if I take increased magic damage, okay, at rank 1, I'm doing 2 damage. I don't have a penalty to my success rate, and I can stack other supplemental skills on top of it.
Right. This is not a supplemental skill.
I know. So that's what I'm saying. Why would anybody take this?
You use it with those other skills. So the special skills are on. You get to use a basic skill, as many supplemental skills as you want, and a special skill.
Oh, I can't.
So yes, yeah. You get that increased damage, and then you double it if you get that great success.
Let's go back to this because I have been misunderstanding this the entire time. Then
let's scroll up to because that is the way that the skills are intended to be used.
Where do we have?
It should be top heading 1 skills.
Heading 1 skills, right here. Yeah. Okay.
Nope. Right. Yeah, heading 1. I can't see what you're doing because you're not sharing screen with me.
Yeah, I can't.
So I'm going based on your stream.
Right here.
So it's wherever we have the list of skill types.
That's what I'm trying to find.
Just don't make any changes while I have it open.
Yeah.
It'll be.
Where the heck are the skill types?
Okay, scroll down a little further. It is right above the basic melee attack.
I see it. Skill types.
Yep.
Action types. Okay. All right, close it. Just make sure.
Yeah.
So special. This skill is used in conjunction with another skill. Only one special skill may be used at a time. These skills include which skills they may be used with.
Right. So perhaps.
Okay, only one special skill, but I can still put supplemental skills on top of it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Can you make a note to clarify that?
However, supplemental skills.
Don't make changes in the Word documents. We already have the PDF laid out. We'll need to put this together into something separate. Just leave comments.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. All of these comments are going to be turned into like the D&D next style errata. And then the next time we go and do a full layout, they'll be integrated.
Ah, that makes sense now. I was misunderstanding this the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay. Also,
Yeah.
if something is a special skill, only one special skill may be used at a time.
Correct.
But other types of skills like supplemental can stack on top of it, no problem.
Exactly.
Oh, that makes all the difference. Okay. Cool. Yeah, look at that. But we do need to clarify.
Yeah, if you were confused, it needs to be clarified.
Yeah.
But the underlying intended mechanic is not broken.
Okay, cool. All right. Do we have any other questions?
We have tons of questions, I think. If I can click on the right thing. On each turn, does the character have a move and an action? Yes. Are there any strict rulings on how that's done? Sort of. So right here, you can see you're sort of building your action on your turn based on what you want to do. And so you can use all of these different skills in conjunction. And so we severely limit the number of actions you can take. There isn't an action surge type thing where you get extra actions. It's you do your thing, you move, and you might have some like role play stuff. You might do some social interaction, back and forth banter. And we have a little bit of an explanation on that, where what point does banter turn into an action?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there are limits on.
Yeah,
But it's limits that are designed to streamline things instead of slow things down.
yeah, you can take skills like strike speed that increase the number of attacks you make, right? So you're not always limited to one attack. And then I think up here, the actions, we have rules that say, what you can kind of do on your turns and stuff, but it's pretty simple. You can move, you can take an action, and then certain skills like intimidation may or may not be turned into an action depending on how it's being used. So, yeah. Got any other questions to that sheet?
Is diagonal movement blocked between two monsters? I don't think we've addressed that.
We have not. I always say that it is. But that is the type of very fine-grained, nitpicky rule that we're probably not going to put in the rules, just because it's, I don't know. If you start defining all of that really specific stuff, the rules get bloated very fast,
Eventually, if you try to find every single little thing that can possibly be done, you have 14 rule books and 10 chapters for every 5 feet.
Although I will say that's a lot of books, and we can make a lot of money if we just made a bunch of books like that,
Do you want to be that miserable while making that many books?
No, but, we can just get people to buy them all or something. Look at our rule system. It's 20 books long.
Dear God.
Yeah, so we probably won't define that, but we'll let game masters make the call. There's always going to... Here's the thing. Here's what you got to balance, in my opinion, when you're making a game. You need to balance, what rules need to be defined in the book because they come up all the time or they're essential, and what rules do you just say, we're not going to discuss that because the game master can make the call. Here's an example for you. In Shadowdark, I'm going to pick on Shadowdark. I love Shadowdark. I play it all the time, every other week. But I'm going to pick on it. It does not define what conditions are. So there are literally spells and things in the game that will give you a condition like poisoned or paralyzed. But nowhere in the book, at least that I could find, does it tell you what those conditions do. And so what happens is the game master has to decide what they do, right? And you can't just decide what they do and change your mind every time paralyzed happens. You have to pick one definition of what paralyzed means, and then you have to stick with it. And so what I had to do is, as these conditions come up, because there's no list of them, they just come up in spells and stuff, I have to decide what they are, and then I document it for my players. And so we have a running documentation of what these conditions do when they come up in the game, so we can have consistency in the game, right? So that is an example of where a rules book decided not to define something that really should have been defined, right? Because you're not actually saving anybody any trouble. You're giving them rules that are really needed for play, right? So there's a balance to be had, right? If you over-define things and you address every little tiny thing, well, then the rules just become cumbersome and, needlessly pedantic, I suppose you could say.
with the guard captain dead, does the guard's boosted attack chance go back down to 50? Yep.
Yep. Their leader has died. Yeah.
Yep. Will there be rules for solo TTRPG players? Most likely not. Neither Luke or I are experienced with solo TTRPGs. I am sure that there are ways to adapt it to solo play, but it is not something, as far as I'm aware, either of us have experience or plan on doing.
No, I think Zach brings up a great point. Like, if we were to create a solo TTRPG adaptation, then we would have to have experience doing solo RPGs in order to create that adaptation. You can't create something and have it be good when you have no experience doing that thing. You know, like, I don't know how to create real life armor. So if I tried to get a piece of metal and hammer it out, it's going to suck. Right. And so we don't have that skill set. And quite frankly, I personally love the group dynamic and playing with other people. I feel like this is one of those things where when the game system comes out, we can probably, the community, somebody in the community might want to make that sort of adaptation, and then they could create those rules and then they could provide those to people, that want to play a solo TTRPG. And I would be totally fine with that sort of thing, and that's the type of thing too, where if somebody decides to create that and play test it and tweak it and stuff, and they make that to benefit the community who plays No Quarter, we could, do something like where we would like review it, make sure it's up to snuff, and then maybe even recommend it to people who are looking for a solo TTRPG option for No Quarter. But yeah, I don't personally have any plans to do that myself.
Nope. That's the last question in the sheet.
Sweet. All right.
There any questions in chat that were missed? I don't think so.
Is movement a free move, a square, or hex based? We use squares. Every group I've always played in uses squares, but there's nothing in the rules that say anything about what you have to use, whether it's squares or hexes. So you could do whatever you want, I would say. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Yeah.
How is non-combat stuff going to work?
Same way as combat stuff.
Yeah. So the thing about social interaction is it's not as difficult to balance as long as you're not trying to define all of the outcomes from the beginning. So Wizards of the Coast, at least in the 2014 Player's Handbook or the Dungeon Master's Guide, I forget which one, they included charts of like what's supposed to happen on certain roles in social interaction. And quite frankly, that's just stupid.
I doubt anybody uses it.
No. And so the way we're approaching it is, these are your skills. These are what the skills are for. These are your success rates. And then for creatures that it's relevant for, these are the successes that you have to reach.
Right.
And so that's all the information that a game master needs to run social interaction.
Yeah, or like, exploration in a large way too. Yeah. What I've always found is in the games I've always played in, groups I've always played in, I've played a lot of different games, lots of different game masters and stuff like that, is that exploration and social interactions are very rules light. You just kind of describe what you're doing. The game master will call for a check every so often, success or failure, or something in between, and that's always been my experience. And it works very smoothly. It's very fast paced, because the rules don't get in the way of the gameplay, right? Now, there are game systems that will build out very complex rules for social interactions and exploration. Pathfinder 2 is an example of that. If you look at things like intimidation and other things, those skills, they define very tightly what happens as a result. And I run Pathfinder 2. And I tried to use that for a little bit, and I found two things happened when you had tight mechanics around social interaction skills and exploration skills. What happened is the game slows down significantly because you have to reference those things and make sure that it's working and stuff. You know what I mean? And it really felt like those rules were getting in the way of one of a great part of the game, social interactions and exploration. And they were getting in the way and they were slowing things down needlessly. Right. And so when I started playing Pathfinder 2 and I was using those rules, I threw them away very quickly because I saw them as needlessly getting in the way of gameplay, and they weren't adding anything. They weren't adding anything to the game. My other point I want to make is that if you look at games like D&D 5th edition, Pathfinder 2, what you'll notice is that 90% of the rules in all of the books deals with what? Combat, right? Because that's the thing where you really need some tight rules to regulate how this happens. Otherwise, it's going to become a collaborative storytelling event. And if that's what you want to do, fine, but you don't need rules for that. Whereas in games like this, Pathfinder 2 D&D, you will notice that rules around social interactions and exploration are usually very loosely defined. Go to D&D 5th edition 2014 and look up the rules for stealth and sneaking. It's like a little sidebar. It's not a whole lot, and yet that's something that happens all the time in the game. And even then, they don't really define what it does. It's very ambiguous or nebulous, And so you don't get a whole lot of rules like those in these games because you don't really need them. And in my opinion, you shouldn't have a whole lot of rules around that, because the more rules you have for things where you don't need it, it just gets in the way of actually running and playing the game,
And then I think, do we have time for one last question, Luke? All right, so
one more.
Last question. Does this game encourage party roles like healer, DPS, tank, etc., and how does leveling up your character?
Okay.
So
let me handle let me handle the first one, and then you talk about leveling up.
Sure.
Party roles. Technically, no. De facto, yes. Because if you don't have somebody who can do healing, you're in trouble. We have found this in our playtesting that you really need a healer. Even though you get your combat hit points or stamina back after every combat, if you don't have a healer, things can go south very, very quickly. And this is being put forth as a gritty game. It's not like a superhero easy game, and so I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Like, Zach, you were a field medic in the Army, right? Is there any squad that like goes into battle without a medic? Like, it's a pretty standard thing, right?
Yeah.
For a good reason. But you need it.
But that actually brings up a point I want to make on that.
Okay.
While it encourages some amount of party roles, it doesn't mean that one player needs to be a heal bot.
Right.
Like, you could make a character and just one of their skills is healing. They don't have to just be a healer.
Yes.
Like, you could make a paladin type character where, you've got wisdom and strength. And so you are a frontline fighter that has healing abilities.
And the character sheet I literally have on screen, and I've had on screen for a while, is a perfect example of that. Because this character, Mariel, has basic magic attack 2. She has a magic attack that's very effective, and she took combat healing rank 2. She is an effective healer, and she's okay. She's okay at combat. Yeah. Now, if I had dropped the full healing and picked up extra damage in combat, I would be great at combat and great at healing. I could do both of them. I literally, in my other playtests that I have with other players, there were 2 of the players after a TPK, they made new characters, and 2 of them picked up healing on the side. So each of them can do a little bit of healing, but they're still very good in combat and other things. So the beautiful thing here is that, yes, if you don't have healing, you're going to suffer. But you don't need a dedicated healer. You can do other stuff and then have healing too. And that's the beauty of a skill-based system,
Yep. And then for leveling up, you do not level up. Not in a traditional sense. Instead, what we have built is each time you want a new skill or a new rank in a skill, you pay some gold for it. And the more skills you have, the more gold you have to pay. Mm-hmm. And then you can take certain ranks depending on how much renown you've built up over your adventuring. So each adventure you go on, you're accumulating a little bit more renown, and eventually you're going to be able to take those rank 3 skills. The reason for that is we were thinking about a little bit verisimilitude, but also a little bit just raw game design, where no matter how much raw talent you might have, if nobody has ever heard of you, you're not going to walk up to Mike Tyson's house and get him to coach you in boxing.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're not going to be able to go and learn chess from Magnus Carlsen just because you think you're talented. You need some sort of reputation, some sort of renown in order to reach the people who can teach you these really advanced skills. And it's just, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a game design decision to make sure that there is a game, but there is a little bit of a verisimilitude.
Yeah. Yeah. Essentially, if you want to get better at skills, you have to train. Okay. And if you want to train with the best trainers so you can get your skill at the peak level, you have to have renown in order for those trainers to be able to want to train you. So there's those two different ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
now, in theory, you could completely ignore renown and spend all of your gold and skill points on rank 1 and 2 skills. If you wanted to, you could become a true jack of all trades, master of none.
And I think
you would probably be a pretty effective character too.
I think you would be. I think you definitely would
you
be.
You wouldn't be the most powerful in any given situation, but you would be effective in every situation.
You'd be the skill monkey. Yeah. And those are always useful.
And so there is still a trade-off. You could completely ignore renown and say, screw it. I just want to spend all my money on these, learning everything I can.
Yeah. Yep. But these are, from a game mechanic standpoint, the training and renown is like the gates that prevent a character from just like having infinite power immediately, you know, and where you slowly, so you level up over play, but we don't have levels, so to speak, you know. Okay. Yeah, Josh, you're right. Adventures get you renown, and you get taught new skills by paying gold to get those skills. Yes, exactly. That's exactly the way it works. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Sarian. Okay. So this game system, the alpha for No Quarter is going to be coming out in January to all DM Lair patrons, and you're also going to get a new issue of No Quarter magazine every month as well. That's going to give you adventures and monsters to play with. So you're going to get patrons, DM Lair patrons will get everything they need. They'll get the alpha rules plus adventures plus monsters, everything you need to play the game starting in January. And I put a link down in the description, and it will be in the pinned comment eventually, to our Patreon, so you can go look at that. Now the new tiers have not been set up yet. I think I'm planning on doing that next week. But in January, this is all going to be released to our patrons. So if you're interested, you can go check that out over there. And then we are planning on doing more of these live playtests and then Q&As and stuff. This is probably going to become a very normal thing. So if you want to come join that, you're welcome to. I'm also running a playtest on Start Playing for this game system too. If you are interested in joining that playtest, then you can literally look for that playtest on Start Playing. Just type in No Quarter and you're going to find the playtest. And what I would do is I would message me on Start Playing if you would like to join that playtest. I will tell you, I have one player who is in that game who has never come to a game session, and he's taking up a spot. And I think he just wanted to support me and just give me money or something, but he's never actually showed up. So if I get somebody else that is available for that time and wants to play, then I can just kind of like, you know, say goodbye to him and pull somebody else in who's actually going to play the game. So I'm just throwing that out there. We technically have a spot, but you would have to send me a message on Start Playing if you want to get in on it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you're running that as a more traditional game. It's not sitting down discussing mechanics and all of that like you and I were doing.
That's correct. That playtest game is run very much like an actual game would be run, with exploration and social interactions, and like the group had to retreat from the dungeon because they were getting their butt kicked. They had to go back in. This is more like a traditional game as opposed to like what you saw today, you know. So, but I am still getting lots of feedback from those players, and they're taking an active role in designing the game. And which actually reminds me, Zach, we need to add into our credits page in the rules playtest credits.
Yeah,
I want to add my players in as playtest credits, and I need to get their names too for that.
You just made me think of not today. I think we're out of time, but
Yeah, we are.
probably next time we should go over how we're handling TPKs, because that's very different from other game systems.
That's a really good point. Yep, that's a really good point. Okay, cool. But we're gonna wrap it up for there, ladies and gentlemen. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and we will see you next time.